Today we are at our second Webcafé. We titled Trustworthy AI, Why Explainability Matters. For the speaker today, we have honored to guest Sergio Burdisso from Idiap Research Institute that is based in Switzerland. So, Sergio, thank you for being with us. Let's start with something simple.
Sure.
But if you want to introduce yourself first, go ahead.
Okay, I'm Sergio. I'm one of the researchers working at Idiap Research Institute. And I've been working here for almost 4 years now. And I've been involved in the ELOQUENCE project since the beginning.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's start with something simple, like what drew you personally to the field of AI and language technologies?
Yeah, this is go back to when I was a kid, and I was always a curious person, a curious little boy, and wanted to know how things work. And then I saw a computer and this magical box that allowed me to do anything that I could imagine in my mind as a kid. So I decided to study computer science, started coding since I was a kid. And then after that, I got also decided to do a PhD in computer science, got my degree in the University of San Luis in Argentina. And then I moved to decide to do postdoc and continue working on language technologies because language and AI is a field that joins many things from many fields like psychology, math, language. So it's really attractive, and you never get bored because there are always new things. There are always things to do. It's really challenging, but really also really good, I think.
I understand. And you worked across the industry and research. How was your view of trustworthy AI evolved over the years?
Yeah, this is a tricky question. So I would say that depends because for industry sometimes depends, of course, the degree of interaction that this will have with customers, let's say, or the impact that could have. But most of the time, actually, the companies focus more on profit, let's say, and if it works, and sometimes don't pay that much attention to trustworthiness. But in research, actually, or now also in companies, because now these LLMs or AI is being used every day more and more and more. So of course now they have to pay more attention on it because it's having impact on society. It's not like before. Like many years ago, no one was talking about AI except us, right? Researchers and computer scientists, but not the public in general.
Yeah, and
So,
now
yeah, go ahead.
within Eloquence. So we are both working in this project. But from your side, from the EDF side, you are working on explainability and context-aware interaction. Could you briefly explain your focus and why this is a critical aspect of trustworthy AI?
Yeah, this is critical because one of the main focus of eloquence is to focus on risk scenarios. It means that these are high risk scenario could have a direct impact on lives. And if you want to have a trustworthy system, you need to understand why the system is producing the outputs or behaving as it is. To do this, you need to be able to explain or to interpret what's happening under the hood, or you need a system that is able to produce not only the output, the desired output, but explain why. So the human can assess if if what is being the output is right or wrong, or if what was the process that took from input to output to understand maybe if there is something that needs to be changed. Otherwise, the systems are black boxes. You give an input, you get an output, but you don't know what's happening inside, and that's too risky. I mean, that's not what you want in a system that will take decision for you or will have an impact in society, right? You need to understand what's happening inside the box. So that's why explainability is really important to trustworthiness.
I understand. And what are some real world scenarios where explainability in dialogue system becomes essential? From your
Actually, yes. I think that any domain in which this dialogue will act as an interface between a human
Mm-hmm.
real world and will have an impact on real world, that's when you need it the most.
Mm-hmm.
Some examples could be, imagine 911, you want to have a system that could address the call and then to redirect it to a human where it's needed. That's again a human and a system as an intermediate between real world and the person. And that's when
Mm-hmm.
it comes really important to understand, not to see this as a black box, but to understand perfectly what's happening inside and to be transparent. Otherwise, obscure.
Mm-hmm. And I think that you already, with this question, replied to my next one, and that is that one of the project goals is to make these systems more human-centric. And
Yes.
how would you define that in practice, but
I
practically?
can I can elaborate a little bit more there because I can
Mm-hmm.
talk a little bit more technical because
Yeah, yeah, please do, please do.
in this case we want to have a human-centric in many ways. The main two ones are to consider human feedback in the loop.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say you have the system and the human, and to be able to get feedback from human to improve the system, to self-refine, let's say. And the
Mm-hmm.
other one is to be able to allow expert humans to inject knowledge to the model. So if the model is a black box, it's hard to do this because it's a black box. It takes only input as language and outputs act and then get language. But we need a
Mm-hmm.
way to inject human knowledge from experts and be able to force the system to follow what the expert says, what the human says. Imagine any task, any
Mm-hmm.
dialogue that involves a task.
Mm-hmm.
If it involves a task, it means that there's a certain steps that needs to be followed.
Yeah.
Current systems, they are trained to produce dialogue, but as a sequence of words, one after the other. If you use ChatGPT, you will see that it start to generate one word after the other. It's not an animation. That's how it's generated. So the
Mm-hmm.
model is designed to work at word levels, one word after the other, not necessarily as a steps, more abstract. This step
Mm-hmm.
and then another step and then another step. So one of the main research direction that we are exploring and how if you have some sort of flow that is designed by an expert, how do we force the LLM or the model to follow it and to be restricted, to control it and not allow the system to LLM or to do whatever they want, let's say, to generate any
Mm-hmm.
words, but they have to generate to follow these steps. So this, we are doing two things at the same time. On one hand, we are allowing human feedback to be directly plugged to the system, and in other, we are providing a system that is easier to understand by a human because human will be able to see that the language is being modeled as steps, not as just words.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Thank you for elaboration of this question. Now I can understand everything. And beside the Eloquence project, you're also involved in organizing JSALT
Yes.
2005 workshop. And for those unfamiliar, can you briefly tell us what is this, what is the workshop and who it's for?
Yes, yes, yes. This for the last 30 years, each summer, the Center of
Mm-hmm.
for Language and Speech Processing of the Johns Hopkins University in US,
Mm-hmm.
they organize and host a few international teams for an intensive 6-week research workshop on speech, language, engineering, machine learning, and AI. This workshop have produced a really widespread impact on on AI technologies. Like for instance, one of the first version of Google Translator was created after in one of these
Mm-hmm.
JSALT, or Caldi, which is also a package that speech processing people use, is really well known, was also part of the one of the J's also. Now in this year, we submitted a project proposal. We got elected refuse for other teams, and now
Mm-hmm.
this we crafted so that it's perfectly aligned to Eloquence. So it would be really nice because we will be 6 weeks
Mm-hmm.
researching intensively with really high qualified people from different part of the world, like companies like Facebook, Google, Amazon, universities and institutes from all over the world. So it was going to be really challenging and really motivational. So, yeah. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, it sounds really nice. And since the topic of this workshop is about improving trustworthiness, and my question is, how does the topic of this workshop is aligned with the goals of the eloquence
Yes, yes.
and the task that you are doing as
Yeah.
institute?
Yeah, as mentioned, our proposal was merged to other two more. So we ended up with one research group that has 3 sub-teams. This research group as a whole, the the goal is to be able to control LLMs. To LLMs, for people don't know, is like the technology under the hood, the ChatGPT like technologies. To be able to control them, to evaluate them, to understand them, like to really analyze them in depth. So our subgroup is basically focusing on being able to control them and to be able to come up with evaluation metrics that will tell whether one system is better than the other or behaves better than the other or is more under control than the other, let's say, to explain in simple words. That's more or less like that. So it's perfectly aligned to eloquence because it involves interpretability too, so explainability, everything. So it's perfect, it's 100% aligned, and yes.
Nice, nice, nice. That's like um, we say in Serbian, 2 bags with one punch.
Exactly. Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
And related to that, will there be outcomes from this workshop that might fed later the Eloquence project?
I think that 100% of the outcomes will fit perfectly to eloquence project. And
Excellent.
by 100%, it not only means not only mean the ones that our subgroup will produce, but the other sub teams too, because the whole group as a whole is perfectly aligned to eloquence. So I
Yeah.
think it's going to be really beneficial for eloquence project. Will benefit from people from all over the world, like really high qualified people and exchanging knowledge. So it's going to be really
Yeah.
nice.
Nice, like a sponge, just taking the knowledge from
Yeah,
others.
yes, yes. Or also acting to give knowledge to others and so on, right? It's like
Yeah, nice, nice. And I'm
going to
glad to
be
hear it because it's summer. And during the summer, most of the people are not on their works, they're on their vacation, and they're not doing anything, pretty much. They're
yes,
resting. And now
exactly.
you have the group of people that are going to solve some problems in
Yes.
reality. So it's really,
And
really nice.
forgot to mention that every year it's held in different countries. Last year was in US, but this year is in Czech Republic. So it's going to be nice to be almost
Yeah,
2 months in Czech Republic.
nice, nice. And are you going to visit the Prague?
Yes, I mean it's the
Nice.
capital, so yes, I have to. We will be in Brno, but yeah, it's not far away from
Yeah, yeah,
to Prague.
yeah. Nice,
We are
nice.
closer to Vienna, but yeah,
If you have time, you can
yeah,
go on both sides. So
yeah,
nice. And just to have one more picture, in your view, why is explainability such a challenge in modern AI systems?
yeah.
Is it
Yes.
a technical problem, a design issue, or a communication gap with users?
Yeah, I think that's a perfect question, a really good question, because it says on modern days, because nowadays the technology that is under the hood is not what it used to be many years ago.
Yeah.
Like many years ago, it was like sometimes it was designed to be interpreted like by design, let's say. If you see it as a system, you have like symbols. Each symbol represented a concept. So if you see how this concept interact and so on. But now it's like neural networks under the hood. So it's a bunch of numbers, a bunch of vectors, a bunch of metrics. And let's say that one of these models has billion parameters, billion numbers. So it's really hard to understand.
Yeah.
It's like literally a black box. That's why now it's so important to invest time and resources now more than ever, because these LLMs are being used everywhere and every day more and more.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this field, like interpretability, that was always a little bit behind because when you are doing research, you design the model, and if it works, and you evaluate on your evaluation set and so on. But now that it's actually being used in society, we need it, right? We need to, no, more than ever, to pay attention to
Mhm.
interpretability, trustworthiness, to actually understand the flow, how the input is compared into the output, to isolate phenomena, to identify biases, to come
Mhm.
up with better systems that you can trust.
Yeah.
So that they need to be transparent, not a black box with a
Yeah.
billion of numbers that you don't know why, how the input is passed through this billion of numbers, and you get the word at the end. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much I think that we are in AI world like an ancient. So we are going to
Yes.
somehow build the
Yeah,
structure
yeah. But the
to.
world will adapt. So now this is a new thing that came up. It's
Mhm.
changing the world. And
Yeah,
like this, regulation is always a little bit behind, always.
of
It's like that.
course.
When cars came up, the same, right? There has to be
Mhm.
many things until all regulation come up. So eventually it will be there, it will be controlled, it will be trustworthy, and we are people working towards that. So
Yeah,
it's a matter of time.
we have a AI Act
Yes,
in
exactly.
the
Yes,
European Union, so we have some
yes,
certain regulations
exactly.
that are being created.
But
So I think we're
as
going.
technology updates, also this need to
Mhm.
be updated. But it's
Yeah.
fine. I mean, it's a huge progress compared to other part of the world, I would say.
Yes, yes, definitely, definitely. And do you believe that AI field is moving fast enough toward trustworthy standards, especially in multilingual and high stakes environments?
I think, as I said, there's always a shift, a little bit of delay,
Mm-hmm.
but now I think it's speeding up. So yes, if
Mm-hmm.
you ask me right now, I think it is speeding up. So eventually they will align, let's say, the
Mm-hmm.
technology and the regulations and the trustworthiness and the explainability aspects, so on will all align.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And when you come to get the job and you have interview, and then the HR is asking you, how do you see yourself in 5 years? The same question, but in AI. How do you see AI in 5 years, few years?
And this is either you are optimistic or pessimistic. I'm optimistic. I think it
Uh-huh.
will change for the good, I hope. I mean, we have people, we have to fight for it, of course,
Of course,
to
yeah.
to actually help and change the world, to speed up, to assist human, and to collaborate with, to be used as a tool, but that will be really useful and speed up and advance humanity in many fields, I
Mm-hmm.
hope. But we need regulation, we need explainability, we need trustworthiness. Without
Yes.
that, I don't see a clear future, but with that, yes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I hope that we will all get some straight direction how we can do it, and that we are going to do it in a few years. So we have
Yes.
everything
There
set.
were some really good examples of this, because when
Mm-hmm.
ChatGPT came out, it
Mm-hmm.
was a proprietary piece of software. So they were given too much power to companies. For the
Yeah.
rest of the people, let's say, including researchers, it was not democratic at all. It's like whether you are one of these big companies or you are out of the, you're,
Mm-hmm.
you you can there no way you can compete or you can advance science or study these phenomena. But then
Mm-hmm.
research community, we start pushing to democratize all of these technologies and come up with ways to optimize them, to make it run in small devices, to come up with quantization techniques, a way for everyone in the world. Nowadays, you can
Mm-hmm.
even in a laptop run a smaller version of these models.
Mm-hmm.
This is crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about, only big companies were able to have this model. Now it's going to be, in few years, it was super common. Like a program that you install in your computer, it will be just like a ChatGPT, but in your computer. It's not like sending data to a company,
Mm-hmm.
rather more data from you. Or imagine a lot of sensitivity domains in which you have to respect
Yes.
the privacy, right, of the person. Is
Yeah, and
maybe
that's always tricky because
yes,
you don't know where the information can leak.
yeah. One way to do is to run these things locally in your
Mm-hmm.
infrastructure, in your hardware, let's say. So
Yeah,
yes.
but we will see in a few years.
So I hope like we keep pushing like this
Mhm,
in all the let's say in all phases, not only
mhm,
technological like per se, but also on all of these legal parts, regulations, and trustworthiness, explainability, and so on.
mhm. Yeah, I agree totally. And finally, the last question. Outside of research, what do you enjoy doing when you're not building trustworthy systems? So when you're not
Yes.
working at all.
I'm considered myself a really social person, and so I really love to hang out with friends and
Uh-huh.
socialize and have some beers with friends. Also do some sports, cycling, playing some
Mm-hmm.
paddle sport, which is like tennis
Uh-huh.
but with walls.
Yeah.
So yeah, or hiking here in Switzerland, of course, hiking, cycling,
Nice,
going
nice, nice,
going to
nice.
the lake. Yeah.
Nice. So you're not like a usual IT guy that
No, no, no.
is so no with the social
I'm
world.
not sure. Maybe it's because the bias because I'm Argentinian, so I'm Latin. So
Yeah,
maybe.
that's genes.
Even though for Argentinian standard, I'm not super like
Uh-huh.
here. Yes, I feel like I'm super open and social.
Yeah. Nice. I'm glad to hear that. Thank you. Thank you for answering all these questions. And
It's
I
a
would like
pleasure.
now to ask the audience, Jovan and Nevena, if they have some questions. No. Okay. So thank you once again, and I hope to see you soon in Barcelona on our next meeting.
Yes, I hope to see you soon.
Bye.
Bye bye.